हेलो दोस्तों एंड वेलकम बैक टू अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ आवर पॉडकास्ट पीओवी ब्रांडिंग गेम्स। एंड आज जो मेरे साथ गेस्ट हैं वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा टैलेंटेड है, आई कैन से। और मैं उनसे मिलवाने के लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा एक्साइटेड हूँ आप लोगों को। सो शी टॉक्स अबाउट फ्रीलांसिंग, पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग, कंटेंट राइटिंग एंड मैनी मोर थिंग्स। सो आई एम योर होस्ट तुषार जैन एंड प्लीज़ वेलकम मिस पलक मित्तल। सो हाउ आर यू मैम?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
आई एम ऑल्सो डूइंग गुड। एंड आपको इस पॉडकास्ट पर कैसा लग रहा है?
I'm very excited actually. It came out of very suddenly, not expecting any message from Shruti. So, very excited.
ऑलराइट, सो आपका ये पहला पॉडकास्ट है फिर इससे पहले भी आपने करा है, मतलब ऐसा कुछ?
No, this is my second podcast. I've shot with another girl who was just starting podcasting. So, it's my second experience.
ऑलराइट, सो बिफोर गोइंग ऑन आवर टॉपिक्स, लेट्स स्टार्ट विद समथिंग लाइक थोड़ा सा आप अपने बारे में शॉर्ट नोट शेयर करना चाहेंगे कि कैसा आपने ये सब जर्नी स्टार्ट करी, कुछ शेयर करना चाहेंगे हमारे व्यूअर्स के साथ?
हाँ, क्यों नहीं? So, I have been writing since the past 3 to 4 years, but LinkedIn happened to me very suddenly. So I had an account just like any other college or student going student, and it was very deactivated. But then slowly I realized that there are so many people monetizing out of LinkedIn. So they work on LinkedIn and they provide a lot of other services on LinkedIn. So before I started creating content on LinkedIn on my own profile, I did a lot of research, checked out profiles that are really growing massively on LinkedIn. And then after I knew everything correctly, that is when I started creating on LinkedIn. It was completely a trial and error method for me. I was like, let's give it a shot. I have nothing to lose. I was just in my second year of college. In fact, just completed first year and was starting with second year. And I was like, let's try it and see how it goes. And it was just a very random decision. Did not have any idea. Had some of the worst posts that I could take out because it was very bad. But I think slowly it took off. It started falling into place. I learned a lot of things, and I think since then I've been going. So it wasn't that I knew it, it was just that I gave it a shot.
ऑलराइट, एंड आपने अपने दोस्तों को भी इसके बारे में बताया था कि आप ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हैं?
नॉट रियली, आई थिंक आज तक बहुत सारे ऐसे मेरे दोस्त हैं जो नहीं जानते कि मैं कंटेंट क्रिएट कर रही हूँ, बिकॉज आई एम स्टिल इन द थर्ड ईयर ऑफ माई कॉलेज. एंड लिंक्डइन टू मी स्टिल अ वेरी that kind of a platform where I'm not very sure how things will work out, and I don't really know whether I want to take it ahead or not. So I'm still experimenting a lot. And वो होता है ना कि हर कॉलेज स्टूडेंट के जैसे when you're trying new things you don't want to tell it out to your friends because अगर वर्कआउट नहीं किया तो बहुत embarrassment फील
हाँ,
होगी.
हाँ, हाँ।
तो फॉर द लॉन्गेस्ट टाइम आई थिंक मैंने अपने दोस्तों को बताया ही नहीं था. एंड आज भी इफ देयर इज एनीबडी हु नोज इट इज बिकॉज they came out, checked my profile, and then they're like, oh bro, you're doing this. Did not know that. So I think there were very close few people that I had to reach out to because वो एक sense of satisfaction भी चाहिए रहता था कि हाँ भाई मैं सही कर रही हूँ कि नहीं.
हाँ, हाँ,
तो
हाँ।
वो थोड़े बहुत दोस्तों को पता था, बट उसके अलावा आई थिंक 90% of the people still don't know that I'm doing something like that.
So can you tell some tools through which we can enhance our content?
I think there are a lot of tools that can help you by giving you inspiration, but there's nothing that can help you enhance your content. That is basically that comes to you through a lot of practice and a lot of experimentation. So I personally use a lot of tools before writing content. It's basically for inspiration and for ideas. Some of my go-to tools have been ChatGPT simplified and a lot of other tools to know that it's verified or not. But I think there's no tool that can help you enhance your content. These tools can help you give a lot of ideas and maybe help you think outside of the box, but they can't really help you with enhancing your content. So it is your brain and your creativity that you can use to enhance your content.
ऑलराइट, सो अकॉर्डिंग टू यू आज के टाइम में ऐसा कौन सा लाइक स्किल है या फिर कोई फील्ड है जिसके अंदर अगर कोई बंदा कंटेंट बनाता है या फिर अपना ब्रांड क्रिएट करता है, सो उसको सक्सेस मिलने का स्कोप काफ़ी ज़्यादा है?
आई थिंक सोशल मीडिया पे ऑलमोस्ट हर प्लेटफॉर्म आज के डेट पे काफ़ी ग्रो कर रहा है. एंड फॉर इंस्टेंस इंस्टाग्राम itself has boomed a lot. And people have been, went from like 0 to crores in a span of 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
So Instagram for sure. I also feel that there are still a lot of people, in fact 70 to 80% of the Indian population itself don't really know about LinkedIn ka potential as of yet. But
हाँ.
I personally feel that if you are somebody who does not have a lot of time to create videos or maybe create reels that are mostly Instagram related, I would prefer that LinkedIn can be one platform that can really work out wonders, because that is a platform that hasn't, spiked yet. And once it does, there's no stopping. So I think if you can create your brand out there in the upcoming years, it's going to be highly, highly beneficial for you.
Mhm. एंड हाउ कैन वी टर्न आवर लाइक जो हमारे फॉलोअर्स आते हैं हमारा कंटेंट देख के, सो हाउ कैन वी कन्वर्ट देम इनटू आवर लॉयल कस्टमर्स?
I think don't think them as their customers.
Mhm.
It's better for you to create content that you know that okay, this person is going to like. So if I know that you are somebody who likes content about in general travel, then I will create more content about travel. And when I do that, when I talk about things that you like, I think that is when you start trusting me more. You have that feeling of resonance that okay, I resonate with Palak. And then slowly when the trust starts building and they know that okay, they trust me completely, I think automatically that will convert them into from a follower to a customer. But don't create content or think of them as customers from the very first instance. Think of them as normal people who are trusting you, following you. Build that trust over the years, and I think 1 year or 2 year down the line, the trust will automatically convert them into potential customers.
All right. And is there any advice for upcoming content creators you want to give?
I think I personally feel that there are a lot of upcoming content writers or creators who feel that they know it all. But I think for them, it's very important to understand that there has been insane growth in the past few years, especially when it comes through social media, because nobody knew that social media could have so much of potential. So if you're trying to sell out your services through social media, be it Instagram or LinkedIn, and be it any kind of services, video editing, content writing, graphic designing,
Mhm.
get your basics very clear, know your skill. Just like anybody else cannot, just copy it. Know your basics so well that if you go out there and put yourself out there, you know every bit of it. And when somebody is reaching out to you, be so confident with those skills that okay, I know this, I know my shit very clearly,
Mhm.
and I can give you what nobody else can. So if you are trying to become one of the following creators in the upcoming years, first invest a lot of your time into getting your skills right, learning everything that you might need at least for the initial few months, and then just put yourself out there as transparently as possible and keep on doing it till you get that confidence, even if you're not getting those numbers or those data. So instead of getting too demotivated by the numbers, because a lot of times people feel that okay, I just got 4 likes, 5 likes, maybe my content is not
हाँ
good.
हाँ.
Think of it as just a start and do as much of it as possible, because your initial few years will be the foundation that will help you in the upcoming years. So go out, go all in, do things that you're not comfortable with, but always have your basics and foundation very strong, because once you have that,
Mhm.
down the lane it will become very, very easy for you.
And now let's go on next topic. घोस्ट राइटिंग भी आपने मेंशन कर रखा है अपने प्रोफाइल पे. सो घोस्ट राइटिंग के अंदर आपने लाइक कैसे काम करना स्टार्ट करा था?
To be very honest, I think just 1 year ago, ghostwriting was a completely alien term to me. मुझे ghostwriting के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं पता था,
हम्म.
and I just was somebody who used to write. So when I started exploring LinkedIn, that is when I came across these terms like ghostwriting, strategist, and these were very, very alien terms because I did not know what it meant. There were also instances where I felt I could reach out to somebody to know what they were doing when they said they were a ghost writer.
Mhm.
But I think, as the term would suggest, ghost writing is, something that you're writing. Maybe I'm writing for you, but it's completely confidential that I'm doing it for you.
Mhm.
So I did not have an intention that, okay, I want to become a ghost writer. But when I started on LinkedIn and started writing, I realized that there is so much potential out there, and there are so many founders, creators who want people to create content for them because they're so busy and they can't do it themselves. And that is when I tapped into it. I did not know anything, so I started learning a lot to see, how can I get better. I did a lot of experimentation on my profiles and also a lot of profiles that I were handling. And I think slowly, slowly I got better into it and realized that, this is something that can be done.
हुँ। सो लाइक घोस्ट राइटिंग के अंदर हम सामने वाले को पता नहीं चलता कि कौन कंटेंट लिख रहा है। सो इसका लाइक कोई फ़ायदा भी
Hmm.
होता है या फिर क्योंकि एक अंदर से होता है ना कि भाई हम किसी का काम कर रहे हैं सो एक रिकॉग्नाइज़ेशन मिले हमको। सो वैसा कभी मन में नहीं आया उस टाइम पर?
I think initial stages में होता है, you feel very annoyed. So if I am writing content for your post
हुँ, हुँ।
and that post went viral,
हुँ, हुँ।
I can't go out and tell anybody that, okay, this post was written by me and that is why it went viral. So I think वो एक gap होता है where you feel that, you want the credit that you deserve, but I think you signed up for it and you know that it's confidential
हुँ,
till the
हुँ।
contract ends. Of course, after the contract is over, you can go ahead and tell it to the entire world that you wrote it. But I think every job has its pros and cons, and होस्ट राइटिंग का सबसे बड़ा कौन यही है कि यू कांट गो आउट देयर एंड टेल दैट, ओके, आई एम वर्किंग विद दिस पर्सन टिल द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज ओवर.
हुँ, हुँ।
So I think with time you just get so used to it that you prefer just going ahead and writing instead of always taking credit for it.
ओके एंड हाउ डू यू मैनेज घोस्ट राइटिंग, कंटेंट राइटिंग एंड पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग साइमल्टेनियसली?
To be honest, all of these are pretty interrelated, and sometimes, as you know, it can become both easier and difficult for
हुँ,
you,
हुँ।
even though it's interrelated. So when you note content writing, I think content writing is common for both ghostwriting and a personal strategist, because even with branding you need to write content, and even in ghostwriting you need to write content. And similarly, on the other hand, personal branding includes ghostwriting as well, because you're writing and building their brand but cannot go out and tell that you're doing
हुँ,
it.
हुँ।
So I think all of them are very interrelated, and even if you're focusing on one, there are bound to be, instances where you look at other things as well. But I think most of the times it comes through just being very disciplined at how you are managing your time. So if I know that this is my priority, I do it irrespective of whether it is a ghostwriting task or a personal branding task. I personally feel that what I do right now is just personal branding, but it includes content writing and ghostwriting, because writing is the center of the focus.
हुँ,
So it's just that you have to be very, very disciplined with the time that you're putting out there. And I think I ritually practice the method of having a to-do list every morning, a pen and a paper with these are my priorities. And I think that is how I have been managing all three of them since the past few years.
ऑलराइट। अभी आपने इसमें बोला कि आप हर सुबह अपनी टू डू लिस्ट बनाते हैं कि क्या-क्या करना है आज। सो मतलब ऐसे काफ़ी सारे लोग करते हैं लेकिन एक तरीके से उनसे कंप्लीट हो नहीं पाते वो टास्क। सो ये चीज़ कैसे मैनेज करते हैं आप?
I think personally, it has become a habit for me. I am a college going student and I am in college from 9 to
हुँ,
5,
हुँ।
and the other hours is when I work. So if I know that I have to get this task done before 6, I know that I have either time before 9 or I have to bunk my classes and do it. So I think with time you just become so confident and conscious about the work that you're going out there, that you build that habit of I have to do this no matter
हुँ,
what.
हुँ।
So I think even in the initial months there were stages where I used to write 10 things on my to-do list but was able to complete just two or three of them, because I was not very careful and, very motivated towards my
हुँ,
work.
हुँ।
But I think with time, when I realized that, how important it is, and I started loving what I was doing, it actually became a habit where I got that satisfaction of cutting things off, that okay, this is complete, what next. And I think it was a very slow but a good change of reaching that stage where I was cutting off all of the things from my list by the end of the day.
Mhm.
So I think once you start becoming very conscious about the quality of work and your deadlines, then you build that habit of I have to do it no matter what. And I think once you have that habit, your to-do list is just an inspiration and is a quick check on, okay, this is done and this is left, and you just go ahead and complete all of them.
राइट एंड आपके प्रोफाइल के ऊपर एक पोस्ट भी मैंने देखा था जिसके अंदर आपने अंकुर वारिको के कोर्स में आपको एनरोलमेंट मिला था। सो वो एक्सपीरियंस थोड़ा आप शेयर करना चाहेंगे?
For sure. I think it was one of the best 6 weeks I could get as somebody who was just starting
हुँ,
out.
हुँ।
And I still remember the day when I talked to him and I told him that, from seeing you pop up on my ads, YouTube ads every other day, to talking to you live and not getting annoyed with that when will the 5 seconds
हाँ,
end.
हाँ।
It was an insane journey because I was somebody who was very, very underconfident. And I think all of this started happening in the month of
हुँ,
July
हुँ।
when the openings came in. And I think I even wrote it out there that I was not very confident. How would I manage work? How would I manage classes? And again, Ankur Warikur's classes demands a lot of attention because you just can't, enroll and give up and don't do
हाँ,
anything.
हाँ।
But I think it was a crazy experience. From the applications, it was so tedious but so well written and so well, everything was planned. And then again, the entire team out there, Sudhi and so many other people who were managing everything was so planned, everything was so well thought.
हुँ, हुँ।
And no matter how busy Ankur had his schedule, every Wednesday, every Thursday, we had these classes for like 2.5 hours, and without fail I would be attending them.
हुँ, हुँ।
And it was a very, very new experience because I met so many people out there who are already creating content on LinkedIn, like Dhairya and so many more. And then again, talking to the person live, him answering your questions and everything. I think those 6 weeks were just filled of so many things that I did that were out of my comfort zone. So many new things that I learned about the platform, and it just made me much more confident about being a creator out there on LinkedIn and accepting it very boldly that yeah, I am doing it. And see, being a creator on Instagram is accepted. It's reaching that stage where people accept that okay,
हुँ, हुँ।
she's an influencer, she's a creator. But for LinkedIn, it's still not very out, and people feel that okay, you're just doing it to get jobs. But the reality is not that. So I think it was a very, very new experience. He was doing it for the first time. It was his very first foundation batch. And the fact that the team had through
हुँ,
so
हुँ, हुँ,
many
हुँ।
applications, and then they selected just 30 of them, this makes you feel more confident that okay, yeah, I am capable. And I think it was very good. The learnings and everything was very interesting, and I'll always cherish those 6 weeks because they
ऑलराइट
were just
एंड
very
आपके
insane.
प्रोफाइल पे शार्क टैंक इंडिया से भी रिलेटेड है कि आपको किसी एक स्टार्टअप ने हायर किया था। सो वो भी थोड़ा-सा शेयर कर सकते हैं आप यहाँ पर?
Hmm. Sure. So I think Shark Tank happened to me very initial stages. May I was a very amateur content writer out there, and they were looking for people who are basically college students because young है,
हुँ,
enthusiasm
हुँ।
रहेगा, करने का इच्छा रहेगा. And I think it was just a very random call. I was somebody who was filling out a lot of applications to get internships while I was in the first year of college, and COVID was there, so I was too bored. And I don't even remember, I'd filled so many applications out there for so many companies. And then this one day I get a call that let's talk
हुँ,
ahead,
हुँ।
we want to see what can be done. And they had pitched themselves as Shark Tank, and that itself was a very, very big deal for me. I was helping them with a lot of
हुँ,
content
हुँ।
going out there on their platforms, like Instagram and other places. So I think it was a very new experience. The Shark Tank hype was there. It was still there back then, and people were just so crazy about it that they could also
हाँ, हाँ।
themselves brand that they were out there on Shark Tank. But I think it was very new. They trusted me because I was just an amateur, did not have any experience. But I think it was very fun because I learned a lot. And it just made me, more confident about going out there and trying new things, because it was one of the most random applications I could fill, but I still got in. So I think it was very, very new, but it was
ओके।
very, very amazing.
एंड नाउ एज़ वी आर रैपिंग अप, सो ऐसा कभी आपके साथ कोई अभी तक का सबसे खराब एक्सपीरियंस किसी क्लाइंट के साथ हुआ है, ऐसा कुछ?
Touchwood, in the past 1 year, especially
हुँ, हुँ।
since I have been focusing on LinkedIn, there hasn't been a very insanely bad experience that I had to face, and I'm really, really grateful for that. But I still remember in the initial stages when I was just starting out looking for internships, like, things like
हुँ,
sharpening and
हुँ।
everything was happening simultaneously. I came across this organization that I had got an opportunity to write content for them. It was about
हुँ, हुँ।
30 articles a month, and they were paying me around 10,000 bucks. And of course, that
हुँ,
time
हुँ।
those 10,000 meant a lot to me. But of course, it was a lot of work. And I remember that there were a lot of days during those months where, there were a lot of conflicts, there were a lot of debates. But at the end of the month, they used to pay me the money, which is
हुँ,
why I
हुँ।
never, questioned them. But I think there was this 1 month after working with them for about 40, 50 days where they did not pay me my money, and they were like, we don't we feel that you've not written
हुँ,
30
हुँ।
articles, even though I had written more. But they had just very baseless explanations to, your article misses this, your article misses that, when it was just maybe a random article like a, an, or the, and they would just discard the article completely. And that is when I realized that, they were doing it because they wanted me to work extra and write those articles.
हुँ,
And they
हुँ,
were
हुँ।
like, if you want your 10,000, either you write for more 15, 20 days, and then that is when we pay you 10,000, or you take away 2 3,000 right now. And I think that was one of the worst experiences I could get, because those were very initial stages, and it was almost like that person had exploited me. And even the person knew that I had written content, but he did not just accept it. So I think that was one of the worst experiences I could had, because those 3 months were just insane. I had so much of
हुँ,
debate
हुँ।
going on with their team every other day. But I think those were the days that, made me realize that I have to be more careful, question people back, because they just
हाँ,
can't
हाँ।
put across baseless comments. And I became more careful with the
ऑलराइट, सो
people I'm
इसी
working
से
with.
रिलेटेड अगर कोई नया बंदा इसके अंदर काम करता है एंड सेम चीज़ उसके साथ होती है, सो उनके लिए कुछ एडवाइस आप दे सकते हैं ऐसे जाते-जाते कि लाइक हाउ दे कैन ओवरकम दिस?
I think I think one of the biggest mistakes I did was I did not question them back. So I thought that I was very new. I did not have a lot of experience, which is why, I can not question them back. But I would say that even if you are somebody who is new and in the initial stages, for a week or two, stay quiet and analyze things. But if
हुँ,
you
हुँ।
feel that, things are happening repeatedly, and it is a clear red flag and a sign of exploitation only because they don't want to pay you, I would suggest just confront them and talk to them, communicate things, so that you're very clear about where things are going wrong. And if you feel that they are actually exploiting you even after the communication and you're not comfortable, then I would say that back out. You might lose out on money of
हुँ,
the
हुँ।
initial weeks that you have worked, but it's better than, wasting your mental health
हाँ,
for
हाँ।
the next few months, and instead choosing something else that you can try on. So just speak up out there, even
ऑलराइट,
if you are
सो
new.
थैंक्स अ लॉट मैम फॉर जॉइनिंग अस ऑन आवर पॉडकास्ट एंड शेयरिंग योर नॉलेज विद अस।